Hey, brother.
Hey, Al.
And welcome everyone back to another episode of Siblings in Crime. I'm Allie Rossell.
And I'm Blake Murphy.
And just as it sounds, we are siblings who love true crime.
Yes, love it.
Before this week's case, if you haven't yet, we are Siblings in Crime Pod on all platforms, Instagram, Spotify, all things. Please like, follow, rate, comment. Means the world to us. All right, getting this week's case.
Yes, please. This is an emergency. Please send a squad to Pierce Butler Road, Molenberg Manufacturing Company, machine shop. Please, there's an ambulance too. There's a girl hurt there.
Can you tell me what happened to her?
Just hurry. She's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the edge here. Hurry.
What's the address?
I don't know.
Who are you?
A quiet Minnesota night is shattered by that trembling voice you just heard on the other end of a 911 call. The man is sobbing and panicked, and then just as suddenly as he called, he's gone. Over the next 2 years, the mysterious caller will haunt police with this weeping voice, leaving behind a trail of fear, confusion, and, of course, because we're a true crime podcast, blood. This is the story of the weeping voice serial killer. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll.
It's New Year's Eve, 1980, and most of St. Paul, Minnesota is lit up with celebration. But just past 3 a.m., a call comes in to 911 that silences everything. There's no name, no explanation, just a weeping man sobbing out directions to a body behind a factory, then hanging up. Minutes later, a squad car pulls up, and behind the Molenberg manufacturing plant, a concrete skeleton of a building on the industrial edge of town. The responding officer sweeps his flashlight across the lot, snow crunching underfoot, and then something catches the light. It was a body.
Ooh.
She's naked, bleeding, and barely breathing. Her skull is cracked open, a savage blow to the head, leaving parts of her brain literally exposed to the Minnesota cold. Paramedics rush her to the hospital. The girl's 20-year-old Karen Potak, a college student from nearby Wisconsin. And to everyone's surprise, she's actually alive. So her brain is literally open, brain exposed. She's in Minnesota. At that time in Minnesota, I looked it up. It's like average like 10 degrees or so at night, like well below freezing. And somehow she wakes up, but she remembers nothing, as you can imagine. She doesn't remember her attacker. She doesn't remember how she got there. Nothing that could point the investigators in any specific direction. After talking with Karen's family, though, they're able to kind of piece together her night and kind of get an outline of where she was, what she was doing, and how she ended up here. Like I said, it was New Year's night, and so although Karen was a student in Wisconsin, she was visiting family for the holidays, and her sister and their buddies went out clubbing that night. And so they're out way late at night. It turns out she wanted to go home a little earlier than the rest of them. Sounds like everyone was planning on staying out all night.
Did she leave the group?
She left the group.
Oh, man.
Never leave the group.
Yeah.
That's like 101.
Yeah.
So
Poor girl.
Unfortunately, yeah, she was ready to leave a little early. And resources vary slightly on exactly how this happened. But what we do know is that she planned to leave around 1. And so maybe it was a shorter walk. Maybe she thought it wasn't that big of a deal. Also, it's the 80s, so maybe she felt like a false security of safety. She leaves the bar, and she starts walking down the street near Pierce Butler Road and Syndicate Avenue in St. Paul, Minneapolis. St. Paul, Minnesota. She was allegedly offered a ride. I mean, it's freezing outside. Some sources say she didn't even bring a coat out that night.
Dang.
Which I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone says hot girls don't get cold, so maybe that's the thing.
Yeah.
She ends up starting to walk. Evidently, she's maybe offered a ride. I can imagine the heat of a nice little car heater would be very enticing on a night like that. So she hopped in. As they're driving, this was an industrial zone, like I said, with few street lights and nearly deserted at this time of the night.
That's spooky.
Yeah, this is where accounts kind of differ on whether she was actually got in the car or she was attacked outside the car. Either way, on that walk home, Karen was attacked by that man, the driver, with a tire iron.
The weeping man.
The weeping man. Police scour the area, but they don't find anything. Obviously, we don't have much DNA evidence at the time, but they're looking for fingerprints, footprints, a weapon, and nothing. The only real lead was that phone call, which is from a payphone that was down the street. So the voice in the recording, as you heard, is panicked. It's not really mocking. Like, sometimes you hear killers who are, like, kind of taunting, like, kind of like, come find me type of thing.
Yeah.
This guy is sobbing. He's acting terrified. Investigators quickly conclude that the man on the phone is the attacker. Investigators were confident that was the case because of a few reasons. One being only an attacker could have known where she was. Like I said, it's like this remote area that no one's going to. It's like, what are the chances he saw that? Another thing is, like, the callers... Go ahead. I
always think it's weird when, like, people who have nothing to do with it will call in and, like, confess or say they did it. It's like a weird, really weird, like, psychological thing.
People just, like, needing attention of something.
Yeah, or something weird, but...
That is weird. It is kind of shocking to me, too, like, people who don't have anything to do with it that make a call and don't come forward. Like, they call anonymously.
Yeah.
I can see not wanting to be involved, but... I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if you're there, like, you would think to stay, help, be present.
Yeah. There's a show that's based on a true story about a guy who murdered a bunch of girls. And he was like a serial confessor. He'd, like, confess to everything and then, like, pretend like he doesn't know any details on it. So all the cops just thought he was...
They don't know if he's actually telling the truth or not?
Yeah, they just all thought that he was just, like, faking it and, like, wasn't actually the killer. And, like, the FBI sent in, like, some other criminal to get a confession out of him.
Really?
To reduce his sentence. And they got it, so.
That's crazy. Do you remember what it's called?
There's a TV show about it. I'll have to look.
That's pretty crazy. It's crazy the wires that are kind of crossed, like, what people pull.
Yeah, like, that guy actually, like, used it as a strategy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it was working. And then the other... people that do it all the time, it's like, I don't know. It's creepy.
Yeah, I think it must be some sort of messed up in the head, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Seems like right off the bat, like, the psychological profile was a guilty offender. Like, it didn't seem like an innocent bystander that was like...
Oh, it's called Blackbird.
Blackbird?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting. So there was no other plausible witnesses nearby. They scoured the area. Nobody's coming forward saying that they were anywhere near the situation, nowhere near the crime scene where they could have seen a car, a person, anything that would lead to any initial leads.
Yeah.
But, like, who would beat a woman so viciously and then beg the police to come stop him?
Yeah. Man that can't control himself.
Yeah. They're thinking he's maybe having some sort of mental crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's having these psychotic breaks and he can't control it and he knows it's wrong. But
yeah. He also doesn't want to
go to jail. Yeah, he's like, I know it's wrong, but also don't come find me at the same time.
Yeah. He's like, if you do find me, it'll help me, but I don't want to go.
Right. And so they start canvassing hospitals, shelters, rehab centers, hoping to find a disturbed man kind of matching that voice. And that's kind of hard to just identify by a voice match. But still, they're hoping to get close, and yet no luck. So they play the tape over and over. The voice is shaky, and it's high-pitched, like someone on the edge of a breakdown. And they start to wonder, like, was this his first attack, or has he done this before? There are no answers yet. And the file of Karen's case, which she ends up surviving, she ends up just going through severe brain damage and has a lot of memory loss. And he basically took her life from her with that type of damage. But she did survive, and that case gets thicker, and over time it's labeled unsolved. But no one can shake that voice they heard, and then 5 months later, it comes again.
5 months?
5 months. It was June 3rd, 1981. I guess it's almost 6 months. June, July, yeah. So maybe 6 months, actually. So 6 months after New Year's Eve attack on Karen, St. Paul police had long since kind of forgotten about this audio. They would recognize if they heard it because it's like that creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But they've kind of moved on. That's cold case now. And now, just 6 months later, that familiar voice came back as if it was haunting them.
Oh, you find me? I just stabbed somebody with an ice pick. I can't stop myself. I keep killing somebody.
Within minutes, police are racing through the streets near the Greyhound bus depot to a location near Interstate 35E, just by kind of like an ice rink area in St. Paul. That's where they find her, a young woman bleeding out and pronounced dead at the scene. She's been stabbed over 60 times.
Jeez.
Yeah, mostly in the chest and neck, obviously the most severe areas. And the wounds are chaotic. They're deep, they're frantic, some even hitting bone. And they identified the weapon as an ice pick.
Oh.
Where do people get ice picks? I feel like I hear that sometimes. I'm like, what the
They're
heck?
in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what the heck? I guess, like, what's what's the usage of an ice pick? I don't even know.
Pick the ice.
I guess. What do I have? I don't know anything. That's how you know we're from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
From the nature and pattern of the stab wounds, despite not finding the physical weapon, that's how they determine it's an ice pick. Her name is Kimberly Compton. She's just 18 years old.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's actually so sad. So she stepped off a bus from Wisconsin earlier that afternoon. It was her first day in the Twin Cities, hoping to get a new start at life. So she had graduated high school in Wisconsin. It sounds like she was so ambitious to start life, start adulthood. She graduated, boom, got on a Greyhound, booked it to Twin Cities, and that same day was murdered. That's sickening.
Yeah.
So detectives began piecing together Kimberly's final hours. And after arriving into St. Paul, she went to a small diner kind of across the street from the Greyhound for dinner. And they noticed because, well, a couple different sources say different things. But what it seems like most favored is that they were kind of just going around asking, like, do you know this woman? Do you know some? So they had, like, photo ID. And the waitresses at the diner said that she was sitting there and had dinner at their restaurant. And surprisingly, they're actually able to vaguely remember her sitting with a man. They said that he was in his mid-30s. He was kind of clean cut. But like the most basic description that really didn't lead to a composite sketch. It didn't lead to being able to further identify who this man was.
Yeah. Just describing 90% of guys.
Exactly. It's like, okay, so that's every guy currently sitting in the restaurant. Because they didn't get a name, they get a license plate, they didn't get a credit card. Like, obviously, nothing to lead them to any tips. So, according to reports, under the pretense of going out for the night and sightseeing and kind of seeing the town for her first time, that is how he lured her in, just to be horribly taken advantage of. So, it's so sad because, like, she's so young. She wants to see this big town, this guy, or big city. This guy comes up offering to show her the sights, and a little ambitious, she fell prey to this man. Horrible. They dust the area just like the first case, and they check the payphone. No prints, no blood, no DNA. At this point, they tried everything. So for the payphone tracing, obviously, this is a different time. There's no public, or it all came from public phones, not private personal phones. There was no surveillance, no usable forensics, and manual tracing was like slow at this time. So obviously we have our devices on us now where we can be located at any given second. Back then, it's like, okay, they need to be on the phone for a certain amount of time, and they need to be actively trying to find that phone service. And so it was a different time. It could take minutes to hours, and they had about 30 seconds. And so it was like way too short for them to be able to trace which exact payphone was used. But because of that phone call, they were able to make kind of like an FBI behavioral profile. So this is what they think that this man is like. They said his crimes were impulsive and lacked planning. The crime scenes showed frantic violence, overkill, and leaving out direct evidence. He often used weapons of opportunity or miscellaneous objects nearby and didn't attempt to cover his tracks. He displayed obsessive guilt and religious conflict, likely believed that confessing would bring moral or spiritual forgiveness. The 911 calls formed part of the behavioral signature, pointing to an offender craving recognition, but also internal self-loathing.
Yeah.
As far as like geographical consistency, all crimes took place in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota, like the Wisconsin border. The victims were both kind of transient women where they had just gotten to town from Wisconsin, recent arrivals, often alone. And then as far as predictive behavior, the profiles could anticipate he might call again or escalate, which informed surveillance of payphones and the bus areas. So they kind of warn people to keep on alert because they think he's going to come back.
So he just calls the city phones?
He called 911 off the city payphones.
Oh, off the city payphones.
Yeah. Like, that is so...
I thought you were saying that people were going to get called.
Oh, that'd
like,
be wild.
Like, yeah, he's just going to call
Yeah.
a payphone and be like, to start crying. And
Oh,
stuff.
no.
Like, that's really creepy, too.
Poor just random people picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's just committing these crimes, goes to the nearby payphone, calls 911, cries about it, moves on, goes find another victim.
Mm-hmm.
What a freak.
I know what I was just thinking about.
What's that?
Like, I know that, like, police are super overworked, but what if AI started doing, like, 90% of their job, and so they could get through a lot more cases?
Like, how would AI be used, do you think?
All the paperwork and, I don't know, documenting stuff. Just have a little robot taking pictures of everything.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't know, just do, like, a lot of the work.
Like the nuance stuff?
Yeah, like knocking on doors and...
The surveillance thing?
Yeah.
The robots, they're just recording every conversation. They're just
Yeah.
scanning you. I
And
mean,
then they
that'd be
can,
a
like,
good
detect
privacy
your face
thing.
if you've had any, like, if you're, like,
They're
that
like,
nervous.
criminal record. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Pulling it all up or whatever. I mean, I'm sure they have very beneficial ways to use AI that would make their job a whole lot easier and hopefully
Yeah.
get through a lot more cases. Because just like Karen, Kimberly Compton's case goes cold without anyone being able to identify who this man was sitting with her. But the tape recorder keeps running, and the Weepy-Voiced Killer isn't finished.
Fire emergency.
Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one. Oh, my safe.
It's early morning on August 6th, 1982, and the voice is back. The same voice that cried after attacking Karen Potak, the same voice that sobbed over Kimberly Compton's death. But now he's calling again, confessing to another murder.
One they don't know about?
One they don't know about. Moments later, though, Minneapolis police are called to the banks of the Mississippi River. A woman's body has been found.
Oh, so he called before. That makes it sound like he for sure is the person.
Absolutely. I mean,
Not
it's not
just-
going to be the same guy just stumbling across 3 different bodies.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
That's like solidifies it.
yeah.
Right. So he calls, and then right after they get a call, hey, there's a body over here, and cops are at the scene.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like it was a very big window by the time he left the scene and cops arrived.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sickening.
Is he calling on a payphone again?
Calling on a payphone again. I didn't even know they had that many payphones around back in the day. In
I
the
mean, I
80s.
would assume. Like, how else are you going to
And in
call
a big
someone?
city.
Yeah.
Her name is Barbara Simons. She's 40 years old, and she was a nurse.
Was she jogging?
She wasn't jogging.
Okay.
That's funny.
I always get nervous. when
I know,
Caitlin
me
goes and
too.
jogs.
Because I don't like going out and jogging. And she was a nurse and a compassionate soul is how she was described, which, as you can expect, I feel like most nurses are compassionate. That's why they're in nursing.
Mm-hmm.
She'd gone out for the night to the Hexagon Bar, and it was like the working class tavern area of Minneapolis, I suppose. Actually, I just looked it up to see what it looked like, and it had burnt down in 2020, which is so sad.
Whoa.
But the reviews were like super nice. Like, thanks for the great fuzzy memories. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
adorable. And so it sounds like it was a very popular place to hang out back then, but it has been shut down since. But it was like kind of a sports bar and grill. She danced, she drank, and as the night ended, she approached someone. Before leaving with him, Barbara says something to the staff that would haunt everyone. And she says, I hope this guy is okay because I just need a ride home.
Oh.
So sad.
She's just getting a ride?
She's trying to get a ride, and as we know, she never made it.
That's sad.
Her body was discovered hours later near the river. She had been stabbed more than 100 times.
Jeez.
The most violent attack yet.
At least that everyone's, like, saw the guy.
Yeah, this is going to be our first victim who they're like, oh, yep. She even made it like a point to be like, this is the guy I'm leaving with. Hopefully he's fine.
Yeah. To the bartenders or
To the bartenders.
Oh, I'm sure bartenders and like meet with
my
cops
gosh.
so often. They're
That's
like,
what it seems like.
I feel like they always are like watching and hearing things and seeing things.
I know, it's kind of scary. Like, I feel like
I'd
you
be
have to
watching everyone so good.
Yeah, I was about to say, you have to be on a like high alert and just be paying attention, because if the people that are coming in and out all the time, faces probably just blur. Like, oh, dang, that could have been like 8 guys. I saw like so many people that night. You know? But she was found with defensive wounds, covered her hands and her arms. Like, it was obvious that she fought hard. The scene was chaotic. The murder was frantic. But whoever did this had vanished without a trace. But, like you said, this was the first time that somebody saw the killer with Barbara, for sure. Definitely. The bartender and at least one patron remembered the man she left with. They said he was soft-spoken, that he was mid to late 30s with dark hair. So pretty similar to the identity that was previously said, but they didn't know enough by the man who was with Kimberly. But in this case, like, yeah, no, we definitely recognize this guy. So police worked up an assembly photo lineup. How many pictures do you think usually are in a photo lineup?
8.
That's what I thought too. I was like, surely it's like 10 max, you know? They got a photo album of 170 people. That's a ton.
Yeah.
That's way smarter, I feel like. Then it's like they really have to be on the ball.
I've always wondered, like, do they have a picture of the guy? Or is it just what the guy might look like?
I think they have a lot of different criminal people in there. And I think, like, anything that matched what they said, they would pull up and put in there.
Yeah. So it's like people who might have done something wrong, who might be doing something wrong again.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So,
I've always, like, seen them, like, when they do, like, the things in movies and, like, the guy's in there, I'm like, how'd they find that guy? And they just happen to put him in the lineup.
That's true.
When they're looking.
That's a good point. But yeah, so the bartender and like 1 or 2 other people who were in the bar that night, they get the same like fat pamphlet of photos, and all of them point to the same man. That's Paul Michael Stephani. Finally, the voice on the tape had a face. So far, what we think. But that wasn't enough to arrest him, obviously, because they had a name, but they didn't have anything besides that. And
like, where did they get? That's what I'm saying. Like, where did they get that picture of him?
Yeah.
Like, how did they think it might be? Like, how do they include him?
How they like put him in the photo lineup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know specifically for this case. I should look that up, but I'm guessing that has to do with like checking everyone with criminal history in the past, checking anyone who's maybe in the area that has had like suspicion in the back.
Yeah.
It has to have like some sort of record of some sort.
Yeah. But this guy seems like he's just a guy who's trying to be a good guy, but is really bad.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't sound like he's a criminal.
Yeah.
But
I would need to double check, because now you have me curious. I don't know like what specifically put him in that book this time, but luckily he was positively identified. And so at this point, he's the strongest person of interest. But with no forensic evidence, no confession, and no surviving victim kind of yet, they're not connecting the first girl to Kimberly Compton.
Really?
So Karen,
Even though they called,
because she
you
has
caught
no,
yourself.
because she what?
You caught yourself.
Well, because it's not. I mean, that's something that we'll talk about too. But
Yeah.
she, because she has no memory, they can't like definitively link.
Oh, can't
them.
say it was him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Bummer.
But they know they connect the dots. They can't confirm
Correct.
the dots.
Exactly. So that is up until 2 weeks later, he would slip up big time. Because at this point, 2 weeks later, someone would live to tell the story and be able to positively identify. So it's August 21st, 1982. It's only been 2 weeks since that 100 stabbing murder of Barbara.
He's accelerating.
2 weeks is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a hot, muggy night in Minneapolis, and Denise Williams, just 19 years old, depending on source, 18, 19, is working.
I feel like he likes younger girls.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Mid-30s, and he's, 20-year-olds.
Yeah. 18, 19.
Yeah, 18 is really young. But in this case, it's a little bit different. The other girls, they were leaving the club, leaving the bar. They're walking home at night alone. And Denise's case, she's working the streets at this point in her life. She's done this before. She knows the risk, but tonight feels slow.
I was walking around looking for somebody that was looking for me.
A man pulls up in a tan-colored car. He's clean-cut, polite, mid-30s, not too creepy, I suppose. He offers her $100, $40 up front, $60 after, and she climbs into the car, accepting the deal.
And we went to his apartment, and he was real quick, like 2 seconds.
She's hilarious for that. Like, she seems like such a freaking stud. As he's taking her back to where he picked her up, she immediately has some red flags popping up. She notices not only are they in an unfamiliar area from where she got picked up originally, but it's getting darker, there's less street lights, and her guard goes up immediately as they pull down a dead-end road. Then he turns to her and lunges. He pulls a screwdriver from under the seat and starts stabbing her hard right in the stomach. She gasps and tries to push him off, but he stabs her again and again, and she's bleeding, she's disoriented, and she is not giving up. She grabs for the glass bottle that she planned on using if this exact thing happened, which is crazy to me. She's sitting in his car, she's getting nervous, she sees that glass bottle on the floor, and as he's starting to attack her, she smashes it across his face, shattering it, slicing him open, so he is bleeding onto her, and it becomes literally just a full-on brawl. He stabs her repeatedly, and somehow they fumble out of the car, and now they're on the pavement, and he continues to use that screwdriver. So at this point, Denise collapses, as you can imagine. However, inside a house nearby, there's Douglas panning. He froze for a moment, thinking he heard something, and realizes it's a woman screaming outside his house. So he runs outside, and what he saw stopped him in his tracks, obviously. But he's a champion, because when he sees a man hunching over her, jabbing a screwdriver into her over and over, acting on instinct, Douglas runs over to them, and the attacker spun around, eyes wild, and started charging Douglas, trying to take some swings at him with the screwdriver. Douglas stumbles back. He gets up, starts booking it away from him, nearly avoiding getting attacked himself, before racing to his front door and calling for help. His sudden appearance must have startled the attacker, buying Denise enough time. She actually decides she needs to play dead, and she probably saved her life doing that. She plays dead, and that's when the sirens start coming from that 911 call. The attacker gets up and leaves the scene. Sirens cut through the darkness, a strobe of red and blue lights painting the quiet street in panic and urgency. So paramedics rush to Denise's side, initially fearing that she's dead, rightfully so. It's a bloody scene. But as they kneel beside her, she opens her eyes, alive, but hanging on. The medics stabilize her, loading her into the ambulance. She has 15 puncture wounds to her chest, stomach, and back, but she's still fighting. Back in his apartment, the attacker stumbles in, bleeding. Shards of glass embedded in his hands and scalp. His panic boiled over into desperation, and just like in the past, he picked up his phone and dialed 911, his voice trembling with now familiar high-pitched sob.
We need an ambulance.
Where?
1505 Westminster.
1505
Yes,
Westminster. What's the problem?
I'm all cut up. I got beat up.
What's your apartment number?
208, I'm bleeding.
208. Where are you bleeding from?
From my arm, my face, my head.
The dispatcher froze. She knew that voice. It was the same haunting caller who had reported Barbara Simon's stabbing and Kimberly Compton's murder and Karen Potak's beating before that. After 2 years and multiple chilling calls, she would never forget that voice. This man, he's called multiple times that he's murdered other people, and now he's calling on behalf of himself being injured.
Oh, wow.
Officers arrived at the apartment within minutes, paramedics following. They found the man pale and shaking, and his injuries matching the desperate 911 call. While he was treated for his wounds, investigators moved in quickly. It didn't take long to put two and two together that Denise's attack matched what happened to this man as well.
Yeah.
So okay, Denise and this guy, they were in the same incident. So they book it over to the hospital. And at the hospital, Denise Williams saw her attacker's face in a photo lineup, just as we expected, and points directly to Paul Michael Stephani. The same man the bartender at Hexagon Bar identified. And later, Douglas Panning, the neighbor, would do the same, confirming the man he saw over Denise's body was the same man now that they're pulling into custody. The Weepy-Voiced Killer had finally unmasked himself as Paul Stephani, not by a detective's breakthrough or any forensics, but by his own compulsion to cry for help. Are you looking him up or something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I know. Such a little crybaby, huh?
Yeah. The suspect sketches are pretty bad.
Yeah.
They have like an afro and he has like bald on the top.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when he was younger.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. Even because when on his arrest pictures, it's not like he has a lot of hair. He has like a big time receding hairline.
Anyways.
Police linked Paul Stephani to the murders for more reasons than just the 911 calls. Obviously, they needed more evidence going to court. One being the strongest, the eyewitness testimony. Denise Williams positively identified Stephani as her attacker, which makes sense. She's spent much time with him, so she was able to identify, as well as the neighbor, Douglas Panning, confirmed. And then also the witnesses at the Hexagon Bar identified Paul Stephani as the man last seen leaving with Barbara Simons, whose body was found the next morning with over 100 stab wounds. So these testimonies, they're the main witnesses. Then we have the circumstantial and trace evidence. So what I didn't mention, though, was the blood evidence from Denise Williams' attack tied to Paul Stephani. So when police and EMTs arrived, Paul Stephani's blood was present at the scene, and he was actively bleeding when they apprehended him. So in 1982, at the time of this attack, DNA testing obviously wasn't yet available, but they could do the blood type analysis. This, I think it's called serology. And so they were able to test his blood type, which was a match, and then the physical injuries were used to support the identification. So it's like everything, all his injuries lined up with Denise's story. Also, fibers and hairs from Barbara Simon's clothing were consistent with Paul Stephani's car and apartment. So I guess she had microfibers and different hairs on her body that aligned with different fibers that was connected to Paul Stephani. And so although it was very small, they're able to link these two pieces of evidence, as well as shoe imprints that were at the crime scene matched a type of shoe that he had.
Wow.
So there are some tiny forensic things, not enough that would have held that alone up in court, but that along with the eyewitnesses and of course the phone calls, were enough to okay, let's charge this guy. So onto the trial. It's almost frustrating because it seems bluntly obvious, right, that Paul committed all these murders and attempted murders, yet prosecutors only charged him with the murder of Barbara and the attempted murder of Denise, our last victim. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of confused on that first because we know that he called after Kimberly Compton, which was the second murder, and Karen, who was brutally attacked. That's an attempted murder. However, I guess they wanted a stronger case because I guess they kind of lacked the evidence, especially in Karen's murder. Karen survived that brutal beating, but with no memory. She couldn't identify him. There was no physical evidence for that case. And the Weepy-Voiced 911 call after the attack was strongly suggestive, but it was still circumstantial. And so they didn't want to link Karen into that to cause any sort of doubt. Yeah. Same with Kimberly Compton. I mean, he ended up calling 3 times. That's one thing that we didn't say with Kimberly, is that he called the police right after the murder.
I just stabbed somebody with a knife stick. I can't stop myself.
2 days later, he called again.
Don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton. I couldn't help it. Don't know why I had to stab her.
Oh, feeling guilty.
Feeling guilty. And then the day after that, he called and was like, hey, media got something wrong.
The guys with a shit on it's me. I killed both I'll never make it to heaven.
So he's kind of narcissistic, wants it to be recognized the right way and make him sound like he's a genius or something.
Yeah, he's no, get it right. Yeah. Which is funny because it seems narcissistic behavior, but also he's being
wanting
a
to get
crybaby at the same time. Yeah, so it's like he has, I think, a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Narcissism, like remorse, like it's like a lot of different behavioral things.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I don't do that stuff because I don't understand any of it. But with Kimberly Compton, like they had 3 911 calls, but police did not recover fingerprints, DNA, or a murder weapon. And so they decided not to link Kimberly Compton into this trial as well.
Interesting.
That's shocking.
Maybe to try to get him later if they don't get him.
Like add charges. It seems like they want to for sure have Barbara and the attempted murder on Denise because there's eyewitnesses, there's so much evidence. Make sure he gets jail time. And then if they can, go back and add Karen and Kimberly.
Really give him
the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it seems like it was just like a prosecution strategy. They just chose the strongest cases. Even though it's frustrating for me because, of course, I'm like, justice for Kimberly, justice for Karen.
Yeah.
But these 2 cases were enough to ensure a lengthy prison sentence, like we said, without the risk of maybe losing to a weaker case. However, in 1983, so this is going pretty quick as far as court cases.
1883?
Yeah, and Denise was the attempted murder in August of 1982.
Oh, yeah.
So within a year, it's pretty good. In 1983, Paul Stephani was tried for the murder of Barbara Simmons and the attempted murder of Denise Williams. During the trial, prosecutors played his weepy 911 calls for the jury. The effect was chilling, obviously. Jurors later said that it was impossible to forget his soft, pleading voice, an eerie mix of guilt and fear. In fact, one of the things that really solidified it for the jurors is that Paul's sister took the stand, and she listened to the tapes for the first time on the stand, bawling and confirming that is her brother's voice. That really got him. Yeah. So after 6 weeks of tapes and testimony, Paul Stephani was convicted on all charges and sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Wow.
But, as you're saying, years pass, people change, and in Paul Stephani's case, he was diagnosed with terminal skin cancer in the mid-1990s, about 1997. And he was facing death, and so he decided it was time for him to speak. In 1997, Paul's conscience couldn't hold back any longer, and he confessed to all known attacks. The beating of Karen in 1980, her surviving with brain damage. The stabbing of Kimberly Compton in 1981, 40-plus stab wounds. The stabbing of Barbara Simons in 1982 with 100-plus stab wounds. The attack of Denise Williams in 1982. And surprise, surprise, an unlinked case, the drowning of Kathleen Greening in Roseville, Minnesota in 1982.
Oh, wow.
That one is a curveball.
He didn't cry about that one?
There was no call made. And
I wonder why.
And it was a drowning. It sounds like maybe they were in a relationship of some sort. It sounds like they were a little intimate or whatever. But my guess, if I had to guess, would be maybe because she would be directly tied to him, he didn't want to make that 911 call.
Yeah.
Which is surprising to me because, I mean, I guess that
feel
makes sense.
the most guilty on that one.
Yeah, because I'm like, you made the decision to call for all these other people because you felt guilt and remorse, yet you didn't feel that same strong urge to do it for this other woman that you drowned. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he ended up confessing to 5 women attacks, 3 of them being murders.
That's crazy.
On June 12th, 1998, Paul Michael Stephani died in prison at 53 years old, taking with him the full truth of his motivations. His voice in those weeping calls remains one of the most haunting audio records in American true crime history. And that's the story of the Weepy-Voiced Serial Killer.
Wow. That one's crazy.
Super weird. Yeah. Some theories that they had, or was one of the theories I saw of why he may have just randomly started murdering these people over a 2-year period.
Yeah. Was
I guess he was in a very serious relationship with this woman who ended up leaving the country for an arranged marriage. And he talks about how, how it like destroyed him. And then there's also this theory that he only killed women in red t-shirts, but that wasn't positively identified in police records, so I didn't include it. But it seems like he had something that triggered him, and it was just 2 year span. So glad he got caught, and glad he was a little bit of a crybaby about it, so we could catch him.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
That is interesting. You ready? True crime news.
True crime news.
Yep.
Let's
Brought
hear
to you by truecrimenews.com.
it. Very nice.
The first thing we're going to start off with was in San Francisco.
Ooh.
Delta pilot arrested upon landing in San Francisco for allegedly sexually assaulting a child.
It's horrible.
So authorities arrest a 34-year-old pilot from Florida on suspicion of sexually assaulting a child after he landed in San Francisco. According to the county sheriff's office, detectives began investigating allegations of sex crimes against a child in April and identified, I don't know how to say his name, as the primary suspect. Officials secured a warrant for his arrest and learned he was an airline pilot. So it sounds like once he landed in San Francisco, they stormed the cockpit and arrested him, and now he is being held in the Contra Costa County Jail on 5 counts of oral, I don't want to say anything, 10 years of age, basically did some bad stuff, and he remains held on bail for $5 million.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Yeah.
Did we know if he had any relationships with these people?
I don't know.
Oh, I hate that. That'd be so scary. Like, all of a sudden, you, like, the cockpit door opens and you just can't.
Yeah, you're just like,
what's going on? You
you're
just
like,
spent 3
hey,
hours chatting with this
it's
guy.
great flying with you.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we'll see you next time, huh? Just to get swooped away. That's terrifying. I'm glad he got caught.
Yeah, seriously.
No place for pedos.
Yep. This one's crazy. In Florida, family
Always
members
Florida.
allegedly locked kids in cages under bunk beds and sprayed vinegar in their faces.
What?
Authorities arrested 4 family members for allegedly locking children in makeshift cages, beating them, and spraying vinegar in their faces.
I'm confused. 4 people?
It
There's
was like a
4
mom and
adults?
dad, a son, and a daughter.
Wow.
I don't know whose kids they were putting in there.
That's interesting. That's terrifying. So maybe like the youngest siblings or something? That's horrible. It's crazy what adults do when they abuse their power.
Yeah. It
Those
said
innocent kids.
It said basically the investigation began after a mandatory reporter at the church reported them, and then the investigators started investigating him. So it looks like the Department of Children and Families performed a quarter pickup of 9 children between the age of 7 and 16 at the people's house. 5 of the kids are biological, while 4 are adopted.
Oh, so it is all one family.
Yeah, but
that's horrible.
yeah.
Why adopt children if you're gonna abuse them? That's horrible.
Michigan man allegedly went on a stabbing spree at a Walmart, injuring at least 11 people. I saw this video.
Stabbing spree?
Yeah.
That's rare.
Yeah. So in Michigan, a 42-year-old man stands accused of stabbing and injuring nearly a dozen people inside a store over the weekend. A deputy responded to Walmart in Garfield Township after Central Dispatch received reports of a man actively stabbing people. Multiple citizens reportedly confronted the suspect in the parking lot to prevent him from harming more victims or leaving. He was taken into custody without further incident. I think I saw a video of a guy with a gun like pointing at him, and all these other guys are like,
That's sick.
yeah, around him too.
I love when good guys have the weapons.
Yeah.
Defending everybody.
Yep. Authorities have requested charges of terrorism and 11 counts of assault with intent to murder. He reportedly has a criminal history of assault and controlled substance violations. The sheriff's office said his motive remains under investigation.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But no one died?
I don't think didn't say anyone died. So
That's good.
Yeah.
That is so weird when people have like these urges to just cause as much damage.
Yeah.
Those poor people need to like probably have so much trauma now. That'd be terrifying.
Yeah. This one's crazy. High-powered attorney guns down socialite wife in front of her friends.
What the heck?
Yeah. In I don't know what state, but it doesn't have much news on it. It says Tex McIver pleaded guilty to fatally shooting his wife Diane, but claimed the death was accidental.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's enough witnesses there, so I'm sure we'll hear about it again soon.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening to this week's episode. We'll be back next week with another episode of Siblings in Crime.
Adios.